Alright, before we start the story, I want to share this comment from a recent post on this channel. This one is absolutely wild, and it shows you just how long some people will hold on to toxic situations. Here's what she wrote. I dated a guy for almost 5 years. He was extremely mentally and emotionally abusive. He cheated on me constantly. Not to sound like a conceited snob, because I do not in any way mean it that way. When I was younger, I was absolutely gorgeous. Still think I'm pretty, but even back then, I only ever considered myself cute. He never took me out unless it was late at night and away from the city we lived in, because he was always cheating and, oh my god, so goddamn controlling. I dealt with it for years because I was so young and naive. My first relationship, and he was older. First red flag missed, and above, more red flags missed. Then, one day, a coworker of his that was friends with my older brother said he needed my brother to help me meet him. We arranged everything. I met up with the coworker at a coffee shop. The coworker told me that my boyfriend married another woman that he was only with for about a year. At this time, we were together for almost 5 years. I found the woman, called her, and sent her proof of our almost 5-year relationship. She ended the marriage, used my evidence of our relationship and my testimony to file for divorce and take him for everything. Even after I ended it and moved away, he stalked me. I met my now husband after 5 years of being single to heal and make sure I wouldn't hurt another person because of what I did to me. We married, had our first child, and moved back to the same area I was in when I was with my ex because of my family and wanting our child to grow up around her extended family. This was 7 years after I moved away, and he started stalking me again. It wasn't until my husband, who is a state trooper, caught him in the act and got him in legal trouble that he finally left me alone. Or, so I thought. Now we're 19 years after I ended it, moved away for years, came back married for a couple years with a child, and got him in legal trouble. I opened Facebook Messenger to check for renter responses on our rental properties, and there's a message waiting to be approved. Who is it? My psycho ex saying, "Hey, you remember me?" No, I don't remember you. Of all the trauma you caused, you absolute. But I didn't reply, just blocked him because responding to him will only feed his fragile little ego. Hope he's rotting in hell while I'm very happily married to the same man, with 4 beautiful children and a life full of everything but drama. Man, this comment really shows you the long-term damage that toxic people can cause. 19 years later, and this guy is still trying to reach out? That's not romantic. That's terrifying. What gets me is how she handled this. She didn't engage, didn't respond, just blocked him immediately. That's exactly the right move, because people like this feed off any kind of attention, even negative attention. The fact that her husband is a state trooper probably helped get this guy to back off for a while, but the persistence here is absolutely unhinged. This is why restraining orders exist, people. And notice how she built a completely new life. Married someone who actually treats her right, has 4 kids, owns rental properties, while this guy is apparently still stuck in the past, trying to reconnect with someone he traumatized decades ago. This is a perfect example of why you should never look back when you escape a toxic situation. Some people never change, never grow, never move on. They just stay frozen in their dysfunction while you build something beautiful without them. Now let's start the story. My girlfriend invited her ex to help her move out of my apartment. Because he has a truck, I said, great idea. Then I made sure he got the full moving experience. She found out what real help looked like when he drove off with all her stuff and left a text. Thanks for the free furniture. My new place needed decorating. So apparently my girlfriend Megan thinks I'm the dumbest guy alive. Last week, she tried to pull the most obvious manipulation move in the history of relationships, and it backfired so spectacularly that I'm still laughing about it. Been dating Megan for about 1.5 years. She moved into my apartment 6 months ago when her lease expired. Things were going okay until recently when she started getting weird about everything. Staying out later, picking fights over nothing, acting like I was cramping her style. Last Tuesday, she announced she was moving out. No discussion, no warning, just, I think we need space and I'm getting my own place. Cool, whatever. Relationships end. But then she hit me with the kicker. Brad's going to help me move this weekend because he has a truck. Brad, her ex-boyfriend from 2 years ago. The same Brad she swore was totally out of her life when we started dating. The Brad who kept texting her until I told him to back off. That Brad. Brad has a truck, I repeated slowly, like I was processing this brilliant logic. Yeah, and moving trucks are expensive. He offered to help, so I said yes. The audacity was incredible. She was moving out of my apartment with help from her ex-boyfriend and presenting it like a practical financial decision. That's very helpful of Brad, I said. Always nice when exes stay so supportive. It's not like that, Jake. He's just being a friend. Oh, absolutely. Ex-boyfriends with trucks are the best friends. Very dependable. She got annoyed at my tone, but I just smiled and nodded. When's the big move? Saturday morning. Brad's coming at 9. Perfect. I'll make sure I'm here to help coordinate everything. She looked surprised, like she expected me to storm out or demand she find different help. Instead, I started planning the most educational moving experience Brad would ever have. Update 1. Thursday planning. Thursday, I spent the evening doing some research on Brad. Social media is amazing for gathering intelligence. Turns out Brad's been single for about 8 months now, living in this decent apartment across town. Posted lots of pictures of his empty living room and bare walls, complaining about needing furniture, but being broke. Interesting. I also noticed he'd been liking all of Megan's recent posts, the ones where she looked particularly good, the ones where she was clearly fishing for attention. Brad was taking the bait hard. That evening, Megan was packing boxes in the bedroom when I casually brought up the moving logistics. So what's Brad getting out of this deal? I asked. What do you mean? Well, gas isn't free, and he's spending his whole Saturday helping you move. Seems like a lot of work for just being friendly. He's just being nice, Jake. Some people are actually nice. Super nice. So you're buying him lunch or something? I don't know, maybe. We didn't really discuss payment. Payment? I laughed. Yeah, I bet Brad's hoping for a different kind of payment. You're being gross. I'm being realistic, Megan. Brad doesn't have a truck because he loves helping people move. He has a truck because he wants to get back in your good graces. That's not true. We'll see. Update 2. Friday setup. Friday evening, Megan was finishing up her packing when I offered to help her organize everything for the move. That's actually really sweet of you, Jake, she said, like she was surprised I wasn't being petty about the whole thing. Just want to make sure everything goes smoothly for you and Brad. I helped her pack her clothes, her books, her kitchen stuff, all the normal moving essentials. But I also made sure she packed all the good stuff. The expensive bedding set I bought her for Christmas, the designer purse she splurged on last month, the jewelry box with all her nice pieces. You sure you want to take all this valuable stuff in one load? I asked innocently. Why wouldn't I? Just seems risky putting everything in Brad's truck at once. What if something happens? Nothing's gonna happen, Jake. Brad's responsible. Oh, totally. Brad seems super trustworthy. I also made sure Megan had given me her new address, so I can send any mail that comes here. She wrote it down on a sticky note and put it on the kitchen counter. That night, after Megan went to bed, I did a little more research on Brad's current living situation. Turns out his lease was month to month, and he'd been posting about wanting to move to a bigger place. His current apartment was pretty small for a guy with a truck who apparently liked helping people move. Very interesting. Update 3. Saturday morning. Saturday morning at exactly 9 a.m., Brad pulled up in his truck. Big Ford F-150 extended cab, perfect for moving furniture, and apparently perfect for moving on ex-girlfriends. I answered the door with my biggest smile. Brad, buddy, good to see you, man. He looked surprised that I was being friendly. Oh, hey Jake, thanks for being cool about this. Are you kidding? This is perfect. Megan needs help moving and you have a truck. It's like the universe providing. Megan came out looking nervous about how I was acting. She probably expected drama or jealousy instead of me being weirdly supportive of her ex-boyfriend helping her move. Okay, so everything's packed and ready to go, I announced. Megan's got quite a bit of stuff, but your truck should handle it no problem. Brad was checking out all the boxes and furniture. His eyes lingered on the nice leather couch Megan had bought a few months ago, the expensive coffee table, the 55-inch TV that was technically mine, but I wasn't going to mention that detail right now. Wow, Megan, you've got some really nice stuff, Brad said. Thanks, Megan replied, not catching the weird way he was looking at everything. Some of this furniture would look great in my place, Brad continued. I've been needing a couch exactly like this one. Well, maybe we can go furniture shopping together sometime, Megan said innocently. Brad's smile got bigger. Yeah, definitely. Or if you ever want to get rid of any of this stuff, I'd be happy to take it off your hands. I jumped in helpfully. That's so generous of you, Brad. Not everyone would offer to help dispose of unwanted furniture. Just being helpful, Brad said, but his eyes were still calculating the value of everything in the room. Update 4. The move. The loading process was educational to watch. Brad was very hands-on with organizing everything in his truck, very particular about how things were arranged, almost like he was planning the most efficient way to unload at his own place. You're really good at this, I told him. Very professional packing technique. I've moved a few times, Brad said. You learn how to maximize space. Megan was running around making sure nothing got forgotten while Brad and I loaded the heavy stuff. Every time she went back inside for something, Brad would make comments about how nice her furniture was, or how much certain things must have cost. This TV is awesome, he said, loading it into the truck. What size is this again? 55 inches, I replied helpfully. Cost about $800. Megan's got great taste in electronics. Yeah, she does, Brad agreed with that predatory smile. When everything was loaded, Brad made a big show of securing it all with moving straps and blankets. Very thorough, very careful. Like he was protecting his own belongings. All right, Brad announced. I think that's everything. Megan, you ready to head to your new place? Yep, all set, Megan said, climbing into the passenger seat. Drive safe, you two, I called out. Brad, take real good care of all that stuff. Brad nodded with that weird smile, and they drove off with all of Megan's worldly possessions. I went back inside and waited for the education to begin. Update 5, Saturday afternoon. Around 2 p.m., my phone started ringing. Megan's name on the caller ID. Jake, something's wrong. What's wrong, sweetheart? Brad was supposed to follow me to my new apartment, but he didn't. He said he had to make a quick stop first, and then he'd meet me there. That's weird. What kind of stop? He wouldn't say. Just said he had urgent business to handle, and he'd be there soon. But it's been 4 hours and he's not answering his phone. Huh. That doesn't sound like the responsible, helpful Brad I met this morning. Jake, I'm worried. All my stuff is in his truck. I'm sure he's just running late. Brad seems super trustworthy. Can you try calling him? Why would I call your ex-boyfriend Megan? You said he was helping you move, not me. Please, Jake. Something feels wrong. I called Brad's number, straight to voicemail. Sorry, Megan, looks like Brad's not available. This isn't funny anymore, Jake. Where is he? How would I know where Brad is, Megan? He's your helpful ex-boyfriend with the truck. By evening, Megan was full panic mode. She'd been calling Brad every 20 minutes, getting voicemail every time. She'd driven by his old apartment, but couldn't get anyone to buzz her in. Jake, I think Brad stole my stuff. That's a serious accusation, Megan. Brad seems so helpful and trustworthy. Stop saying trustworthy, this isn't a joke. You're right, it's not a joke. It's a very expensive lesson in choosing the right people to trust. You have to help me find him. Why would I help you find your ex-boyfriend, Megan? You made it very clear Brad was the right person for this job. Update 6. Sunday morning, Megan got a text from Brad. Screenshot attached because she immediately showed it to everyone trying to get help. Thanks for the free furniture. My new place needed decorating. Don't bother calling the cops. You gave me everything voluntarily. Good luck with your fresh start. Megan showed up at my apartment crying with her phone in her hand. Jake, he stole everything. My furniture, my clothes, my jewelry, everything. That's terrible, Megan. Have you called the police? I did. They said since I voluntarily put my stuff in his truck and he helped me move, it's complicated. They took a report but said it would be hard to prove criminal intent since I asked him to transport my belongings. Well, that's a tough situation. You did voluntarily put everything in his truck. Jake, please. I know I messed up. I know you tried to warn me, but I need help. I'm not the one who messed up, Megan. You chose Brad over me for this job. It wasn't about choosing him over you. Really? Because when you needed help moving, you called your ex-boyfriend instead of asking your actual boyfriend. That seems like a choice to me. I just thought it would be easier with his truck. Well, it was definitely easy for Brad. Update 7, Monday Aftermath. Monday, Megan spent the day trying to figure out her options. Turns out Brad had been planning this for a while. His old apartment was already empty when she went there Saturday because he'd moved out Friday night. He'd found a bigger place across town and needed furniture. The police explained that since Megan voluntarily gave Brad her possessions to transport and he helped her move them, it was technically a civil matter, unless they could prove he intended to steal from the beginning. Brad's text about voluntary giving wasn't helping her case. He planned this whole thing, Megan told me Monday evening when she came by to beg for help again. Yeah, Brad turned out to be quite the strategic thinker. Jake, I lost everything. I'm sleeping on an air mattress in an empty apartment. That sounds uncomfortable. I have no furniture, no clothes except what I'm wearing, no anything. Well, you still have Brad's phone number. Maybe he'd be willing to negotiate a buyback program. This isn't funny, Jake. You're right, it's not funny. It's educational. Megan tried every angle, begging me to help track down Brad, asking me to lend her money to replace her stuff, even suggesting maybe we could work things out and she could move back in. But I was done being anyone's backup plan. Here's the thing, Megan. You trusted Brad with everything you owned. Now you get to live with that choice. You could have warned me better. I did warn you, multiple times. You chose to ignore the warnings because Brad had a truck. I need help, Jake. I have nothing. You have exactly what Brad left you with. Nothing. Final update. Last I heard, Megan was staying with friends trying to rebuild her life from scratch. Brad apparently kept everything and furnished his new apartment beautifully. Posted pictures on social media of his new furniture acquisitions, just to twist the knife. The beautiful irony is that Megan got exactly what she was looking for. She wanted help from someone with a truck, and Brad gave her the full-service experience. Loading, transportation, and delivery, very efficient operation. Brad learned that sometimes the best opportunities come from people who trust you more than they should. Megan learned that ex-boyfriends don't offer help for free, and that trucks can drive in any direction, including away from where you want your stuff to go. The police report went nowhere, because proving Brad's intent from the beginning was impossible. His lawyer probably told him exactly what to text to make it sound like Megan gave him everything willingly. As for me, I got my apartment back to myself and learned that sometimes the trash takes itself out. It just needs a little help from someone with a truck and no conscience. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people make their own choices and watching those choices play out naturally. Megan chose Brad over me, and Brad chose free furniture over basic human decency. The really satisfying part is that I never had to lift a finger. I just stepped back and let Megan experience the consequences of trusting someone who clearly couldn't be trusted. Brad showed his true colors all by himself.